Andersen.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to Channel Anderson, and welcome to the M113K swapped CLK55. Those of you that know this car know that we've thrown a healthy amount of upgrades onto this motor, and we're gonna add one more today in the upper pulley. It's still on a stock 90mm clutch pulley. Right now we have a Weistec 180mm lower crank pulley. We're gonna combo it with an 80mm crank pulley from Ultimate Performance and Design. Special thank you to UPD for sending this out. It's actually a while in the making, so apologies to UPD. It's way longer than I expected for this project to be happening, but you guys know we got all the other cars on the channel, and I really just wanted to make sure this thing was dialed in before we threw another upgrade at it. So let's take a look at what we got inside of here. Obviously got the stickers, which I'll definitely throw on to represent support, those that are supporting me. And inside of here is probably, I would guess, maybe some instructions. Take a look. All right, there we go. So, Ultimate Performance and Design, AMG fixed 55K supercharger pulley. And yeah, you got instructions. So one, remove bottom lower mount bolts. So you can do this a couple different ways. If you want to jack up the engine, which I actually just had this motor jacked up because I was doing the engine mounts, but I put it back down. We should be able to get it off just fine without jacking up the motor, hopefully. Just barely, it looks like, with the fan. Remove stock supercharger pulley, all the washer shims, slide new fixed pulley on, and align two small non-threaded holes to two pins. We'll see if my pins are still surviving on this. Sometimes they break off. And yeah, shims and thick washer will not be needed for this one. So when you go fixed pulley, you don't use the shims because you're not worried about clutch engagement anymore. It's going to be fixed. And then, yeah, install new bolts, Teflon tape, and install 560K ohm 1 watt resistor into harness side of supercharger plug so the clutch and ECU will think the clutch is engaged all the times, which I don't think I need to do that because Josh from Mercedes Swap Shop has already prepared us a tune for this car. So, then a little note down there, two small 6mm thread holes face of the pulley are for using 6mm bolts to remove the pulley. So on this one, let's check it out. Got our wrapping peanuts in here. All right, so here's the actual pulley, guys. 80mm written right there on the front of it. And those are the two thread holes that were mentioned on the instructions. In case you wanted to remove this pulley, you can use those to simultaneously kind of thread them in, and that'll force the pulley off of the shaft. So this thing looks awesome, nice and clean machining. And yeah, we're gonna see how this thing does. All right, so before we jump in here, I should put this as like a pre-warning, I guess, for anyone that's thinking about adding a fixed pulley. Definitely make sure your cooling system is in check. We have an upgraded separate cooling system on this from factory. You guys probably know the supercharger coolant is combined with the engine coolant, and it gets hot really fast. So one of the best upgrades for these cars is to do split cooling. This is already done in this car. It has an upgraded auxiliary pump. It has a custom machined swirl tank back there, has a bigger heat exchanger, etc. So it does pretty well on temps. During like hard pulls, you're typically going to see like a 30 to 40 degree increase, and then it'll drop back down pretty quickly. So that's kind of what we want to see, and we'll see how it does once we go on the fixed. It's definitely going to retain heat a little bit more. But I think overall, for what we're kind of seeing numbers wise as far as intake air temperatures go, and combined with the fact that we're in Washington where I don't see crazy hot temperatures year round, I think we'll be okay. But it's definitely something we're going to have to manage and data log to make sure that things are staying cool. So yeah, really, besides that, the biggest reason why I wanted to install a fixed pulley is because I don't like the feeling of the supercharger engagement. It's a little bit unpredictable. Sometimes it'll do it right when you want to, and it's nice and snappy. Sometimes it gets delayed. Sometimes it's like hesitates. Sometimes you're just driving and you get like a jerk feeling because it's thinking that it wants you to engage it and then it doesn't. So overall, I would just get rid of the clutch system, and this is an easy way to do that without permanently deleting it. If I don't end up liking it, I can always switch back to a clutch pulley again. So I did think about doing the ones where you delete the whole drum and everything, but it's just, you end up damaging the drum, removing it most times, and it's kind of a headache. So most superchargers don't use a clutch pulley. This is kind of Mercedes magic that they use on a bunch of stuff, even like My M113K over there, the early superchargers were clutched. This one is a later style that is not clutched. So it's definitely like a Mercedes Magic. I'm sure there's other manufacturers that use it too, but yeah, we're gonna go to the more traditional style and just go fix. So very curious how it's gonna feel. That said, let's just get into it. All right guys, so first steps, just removing the supercharger belt. You could keep it on, I guess, depending on what you're gonna do, but I'm just gonna get it out of the way. So 17 millimeter, and you need a 12-point socket or a wrench. So I just use this wrench, twist this over, that's your tensioner, and pull the belt off. So now this is free. I may end up reusing this one. I'm not quite sure as far as size goes, but I bought a shorter belt by about 10 millimeters. So we'll see which one I end up needing, but that'll be determined later on. All right guys, needed to make a hardware store run and also picked up straggler while we were out. Just kidding, Mike's here. Had to get some hose clamps. These are 4.5 to 6.5 inches, end up working fine. And what you're trying to do is basically get them to stop on these little pieces over here off the supercharger. And that way you can hold the drum still while you're trying to get this off. By the book, you're supposed to lift the engine up and then use like a socket on it and stuff. We're using a 15/16 wrench or 24 millimeters. So see how this goes. I'll set you guys up, and hopefully I'm not crying by the end. See how this goes.
Does that come off pretty easy?
Yeah, I can take this off.
Oh, I was gonna say you can get to that.
Yeah.
Right through here.
Yeah, if this doesn't work, we'll take that off. Yeah. Power stance.
This.
Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna put this on. No, grab a hold of that and I'll give you a little extra. Make sure it stays square on.
There we go. All right, with 2 mic powers. Bolt's a little chewed up, that's all right. Hopefully I have enough room to get the pulley off. Definitely take one as the oil's through there.
Oh,
All right, bolt is out, guys. See if the pulley slides off. Yes, I'm not sure.
come out.
One clutch pulley. All right, and the pins are actually still intact. A lot of times these will be sheared off. You don't necessarily need them, but they are there from factory. So this one looks a little out of place. We'll see how that lines up. I might have to tap it over a little bit. But the other thing you need to make sure is get any washers out that you find, and be careful, these are sharp. This one's got 3, looks like.
Gems, huh?
So those are for the clutch spacing off the supercharger for engagement, but because we're going fixed, we don't want these on anymore. But I will keep these with the stock pulley so we know. But that should be it right there. Clean this up a little bit, make sure that's lined up, and then see if our pulley will slide on. I might have to heat it up, or actually maybe put it in the freezer for a little bit. All right guys, it wasn't recording because I didn't think this was going to be the final fit, but I just started sliding this on, got the dowels lined up, and I think with a little whack of our dead blow hammer, maybe get it seated all the way. We're like a millimeter or two out right now, so I didn't heat this up or anything. It's just been sitting in the garage. So let's see if we can get it all the way, and then we'll put our bolt in. All right, we should be good. I think we're tied up against things now. And again, showing you guys dowels are lined up, and then those are those threaded holes I talked about earlier that you can use to remove this thing after it's been on for a while, just in case it gets stuck. So washer and our bolt, and then might have to well, no, we can probably get away with, no, probably have to reverse these maybe, or take one off so we can let it hit on the other side, opposite direction, while we're tightening things up. And don't forget also, the bolt is a spot where it's sealing up to supercharger oil, so you want to put either liquid thread sealant or Teflon tape. So do that real quick. All right guys, Mike reversed our clamp. I was Teflon taping our bolt, and now we can go ahead and set these things in place. I don't think I said earlier, maybe I did, but we're not using the washer with this, and that was on the instructions too, so not reusing the washer, just the bolt. And when you torque this thing down, that is what will basically lock this thing into place all the way, which don't know if we're going to be able to technically torque things here because we only got a wrench set up, but we'll see what we can do. All right guys, had to double check looking on the interwebs. 40 foot-pounds is the torque spec. I don't have a method of attaching a torque wrench onto this, and I don't feel like pulling this off to get it perfect, so I'm just going to go back to what it felt like pulling it off. That's it. We reenact our exact pull.
I think you're probably almost good right there.
Yeah.
That's easily 40 pounds.
That feels pretty tight.
Yeah.
Okay. 40 pounds. Setting the muscles. Okay. All right, now to see if our belt that we got fits. All right guys, so this is kind of unique territory, but if anyone out there, so again, I have 180 crank pulley and then 80 upper. Ended up using the belt that was off of there, which was, what's this one? The one that's on there right now is this same number, but with a 4 as the last digit. This one is K080510. So it's a 514 that's on there right now. So this was kind of just guesstimating. I think there's maybe a little bit of wiggle room to go a tiny bit smaller, but this one at least has decent tension for now. I'm not running a belt wrap kit or anything, just some aftermarket pulleys. So we'll see how this does. If it's slipping a lot, then we can try to downsize a tiny bit if there is one that's in between these two sizes. So now time for the tune. If you're doing this, you got a few options, I guess. If you're doing a fixed pulley, if you're keeping things as is, you have to unplug your magnet and then run a resistor in the ECU. Don't do that. Just do it proper and get a tune. So we got our tune from Mercedes Swap Shop. Josh has already hooked it up, so we're going to just upload that now and should be good to go. All right, guys, tune is uploaded. Didn't include you guys for that part just because it's kind of been done a bunch on the channel already, but we're all set. Like I said, belt we'll see about, but it's good enough for now. And yeah, tune from Josh, Mercedes Swap Shop, for everything we got on here. So last thing to do is fire up, see what we get. For those of you guys that don't know, you get like almost a marbly noise sometimes on some of them with fixed pulleys. This one doesn't sound that bad. I'll rev it up here in a second once it warms up for a little while, but sometimes they get really bad, like sounds like rocks inside of the supercharger with the fixed pulleys. You can hear it a little bit, yeah. So it's normal, guys run them like that for a long time, and there's never really been any cases of issues with it. It's just kind of what they do when you go fixed. All right, make sure your hands are not anywhere near there. Different ball game now. It's exciting. You're gonna hold it from here, rev it.
Do not drop it.
I'm not gonna drop it.
Guys, right now long terms are looking okay. Obviously got to drive it around for a little while, but seems like they're staying right around the zeros or a little bit negative, so that's good. Josh was kind of guesstimating just based on where we were at with the previous stuff and stock pulley that we would end up pretty close to the 0 mark, so we can adjust from here. But yeah, air fuel ratio looks just right for idling, and when I'm blipping the throttle looks right. And we'll keep an eye on these. Right now it looks like they're going a little bit leaner. So positive is lean, negative is rich. So we just have to see what these turn into. I'm gonna drive it around normal for, you know, good amount of time and see what our long terms go to. So I'm not really gonna get on it very much, you know, a little bit light throttle and stuff, but we'll see what we're looking like just cruising around, and then this will be a ongoing process for videos really. But this video is about more so the install, getting this done. So super happy right now, have it all done.
Have one in here though.
Yeah. All right guys, going for a bonus ride with Mike. Just a light cruise, see how things do. Let's see what kind of noises we hear. Revs up like anything past 700, then the little rock noise goes away. Wonder if I could factory raise the idle and get it to not do that.
Some.
Yeah. All right. Not bad, guys. Thanks to this guy for the brute force earlier with the wrench. And the moral support. All right, that was the bonus clip right there. We'll have to make an official driving video and I'll mount you guys up and do all that once we get it dialed in, but seems okay for now. So catch you guys on the next one. Hope you enjoyed. Huge thank you to UPD again for sending that pulley out. Apologies for taking so long to get this video out, but life happened right when I got the pulley sent to me. That's when we found out we had to move our last rental place, so had to prioritize. So anyways, happy it's in now. See you guys in the next one. Peace.